Hello everybody, can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Well, what we have here tonight on SpeedGaming is a match in the time trial one try tournament that we are having. Tonight's match is a match in Division 2 Group A. With MeridianPrime versus Flanders. This is an interesting match because Flanders has a chance to proceed to the next round if she can get a single win on MeridianPrime. Flanders already played against the third player in this group, and they both tied on 10 points. And MeridianPrime already won his other match with 20-0. Thank you, Karel. I'm doing very well, thank you. The reason why it sounds like I'm in an aquarium is because I'm in a small room and it's raining outside. MeridianPrime is from the Netherlands and seeded 151st on the time trial site. Flanders is a new player coming from Ohio and is seeded 495th on the time trial site, and is usually a Mario Kart Double Dash player. But for now, he has decided to join us on the SMK time trial tournament. What will be interesting in this race is to see which characters the users will be playing. MeridianPrime is a more experienced player and will most likely play a lot with Bowser, while Flanders, being inexperienced, will most likely switch characters depending on the track. Looks like we're starting off with Mario Circuit 1, which is in my opinion one of the easiest and at the same time one of the most difficult tracks in the game. MeridianPrime already losing his zoom start, so that'll cost him a few seconds. Flanders also misses the zoom start. They're both underway. The reason why I think this is the easiest and hardest track at the same time is the opportunity to make up for mistakes is very small. You need to be pixel perfect if you want to get a really good time. Both are doing pretty well now at the same time. MeridianPrime up about a third of a lap. Driving real nicely. You can see he's been practicing. Flanders as well has been practicing, it looks like, getting the drifts nice. MeridianPrime going into his last lap, probably going for a 107 time, I think. Flanders almost entering the last lap, having a bit of difficulties controlling the drift. 106 for MeridianPrime. And 1:16 for Flanders. So that's a 1-0 to MeridianPrime. We'll see what the next track is. Next track, Mario Circuit 4. Quite a different track than Mario Circuit 1. A lot twistier, a lot of fine-grained control is needed. Even though it's called Mario Circuit Bore in the match race and the Grand Prix. Actually quite exciting for time trial. It requires skill to be able to drive it well. Especially those 4 pipes who are diagonally across the track make it really difficult to get a clean lap. Let's see, MeridianPrime driving as if he has done it before. Flanders had an opening of 26 seconds, which isn't bad considering her level of experience and the fact that she's playing with Luigi. MeridianPrime will be aiming for a sub 142, which is the best time he drove in the last race. While Flanders is hoping for a sub 2 minutes. Her best time was 2:03.67 in her match against Ideas. MeridianPrime already well on the way on winning another track. It's obvious Flanders has been practicing these last few weeks because her lines and driving skill have improved greatly since the last time. Here we go, MeridianPrime coming up the back straight. 1:47.59, which is slightly faster than he did last time. Relatively consistent splits, all in 21 seconds. We're waiting up for Flanders to finish her lap. For Division 2, this is indeed a new tournament record. 2:11 Flanders. That makes it 2-0 for MeridianPrime. And a PR for Flanders, the looks of it. Which is always nice. Next track, Ghost Valley 3. Again, very technical track if you want to do it right. Arguably, it has the easiest, I must say, the easiest platform jump in the game. It's pretty much the only platform jump many of us can make. Flanders having switched to Toad, probably for better control in the twisty bits near the end, with a lot of open spots on the track. Ooh, Flanders falling in the abyss. That bumper on the back straight is very tricky to circumvent. If you hit it, you're most likely to fall off. MeridianPrime going with pretty safe strats, hopping over the bumper, staying well clear of the edges. Not going for the platform jump, taking it safe. Flanders in the meantime trying to stay on track, which is pretty difficult if you're playing with Toad, I think. And again takes a deep dive. Oh, MeridianPrime also falls off the track after bumping into the wall. Like I said, this is a track that requires a fair bit of control, and SMK is by far not an easy game to play. Controls are very counterintuitive. MeridianPrime in his last lap, I think 1:40.85. Which is far from the tournament record. It is a 1:28.75 by someone whose name I shall not name. Flanders in our final lap. They well clear of the track edges. Some nice dodging of the, I was going to say, just doing some nice dodging of the open areas in the track, but the 2:28 for Flanders, who had a 1:43 in our previous race. So that's unfortunate. So we're 3-0 for MeridianPrime. Looking at the times the players have driven so far in the tournament, MeridianPrime is the top favorite, all his best times being way better than Flanders. Going to Mario Circuit 2, which, if you are skilled enough, has a nice long boost where you gain a lot of time with. Looking by the best lap done by MeridianPrime is 15:31. He knows how to do that trick. So we might see it happen if he is in a show-boasty mood. We're waiting for the players to get a go-ahead from referee. Here we are. Flanders having to switch back to Luigi again. MeridianPrime taking the zoom start. Flanders sadly missing it. Meridian taking nice clean lines, not going for the long boost. MeridianPrime. Flanders actually taking a tighter line in the last corner, which is a bit more hazardous because you can smack into a pipe. But she made it. MeridianPrime coming up to lap 4 now. Almost a full lap ahead at this point. Flanders sadly hitting the pipe on the last corner. MeridianPrime coming up to the final lap. Still relatively faultless. Flanders trying her best to keep up. Again smacking into a pipe. Will we see the long boost? Yes, there it is. It's that's why you do not do long boosts in one-try runs. However, MeridianPrime still with a 1:26. Well ahead of Flanders. Tournament record is 1:23.10. Also by MeridianPrime. 1:42 for Flanders. Again, last one for MeridianPrime. Flanders changing character again, going for Donkey Kong now. We will probably get a easy track, relatively easy track. Choco Island 1, which is indeed a relatively easy track. The most difficult part, navigating the chocolate puddles that are on the last straight for the finish line. Because these players do not do TBs, MVTs. Probably don't. They can do the wall hop. It's just a matter of keeping clean. Flanders just going straight to the chocolate. The bumpers here are indeed deceiving because they can throw you off quite a bit. To hit them the wrong way or hit them in a way you didn't expect. The way could end up in the off-road area, which is very rough. Will slow you down a lot. So far, MeridianPrime staying relatively clean. And there's opting to take as short a line as possible, minimizing her contact with the chocolate lake. MeridianPrime going for a 105, I think. 105.39. PB1 is almost at least 3 seconds better than his tournament record he drove in his last race. Flanders coming up with a 123. Slightly slower than she drove last time. One of 5 is indeed a very solid time for this track. I think my best time is 103. So 105 is nothing to sneeze at. So, Mario Circuit 3, Flanders again going for a character with more control. Mario Circuit 3 is just like Mario Circuit 4. Twisty needs you need a lot of control there, so it's really not a bad choice to go with Luigi for this track. No, I didn't do a pipe clip here. I did 5 pipe jumps on the back straight. See if that was the pipe jump that Meridian did. Going for nice tight lines. Flanders doing her best to stay out of trouble. Stays in the middle of the track as possible, trying to avoid the sand. Meridian doesn't seem to get the boost in the hairpin. On 58 seconds, he is on a, I think, 140 5-lap time. While Flanders probably end up somewhere in the past the 2-minute mark. I'm gonna go for 5 out of 5 pipe jumps. Flanders going in her last lap. Indeed, 5 out of 5 pipe jumps from MeridianPrime. 137.25, which is a very respectable time. Flanders coming up to the finish straight, 145. Makes it 6-0 for MeridianPrime. Tournament record for this track is 135.63. And driven by somebody whose name I shall not name. Next track is Ghost Valley 1. Again, one of the easier tracks from the Mushroom Cup. Effectively, a couple of left turns and one right turn. Most time to gain is by manually hopping over the bumpers and staying as tight as possible in the corners. The more experienced NBT players will sometimes try the platform jump, but for non-NBT players that's nearly impossible to do. People have been known to do it, but only on very rare occasions. Flanders taking a dive, that'll cost her about 5 seconds. MeridianPrime on a trajectory for, I think, a 108, 9 maybe. Flanders will probably come in a 115-ish time. Make that a 120. 108.89 for MeridianPrime. Very respectable time. Nice consistent splits. All within 600ths of a second. 121 for Flanders. MeridianPrime slightly besting his tournament record by 600ths of a second. And another point for MeridianPrime, 7-0. Continuing to Ghost Valley 2. Again, one of those tracks where you need to be real precise in what you're doing. Both players missing the zoom start. Might very well be for the best, because the first corner is quite tricky if you hit the zoom start. This part is quite tricky to do. You need to steer very correctly and avoiding the gap middle. MeridianPrime opting to go around the gap instead of jumping over it, which would save him some time, but also open up the risk of falling off, costing him more time than he would have won. Meridian driving nice clean lines, not taking too much risk. While Flanders opts to stay as much as possible in the center, using toads to get through the twisty bits. The 113 for MeridianPrime. With a missed zoom start and a single bump on the fourth lap, it's a very respectable time. And 124 for Flanders. It's 6 seconds slower than our time in the previous match. And MeridianPrime had a 107 last time. It's 0 for MeridianPrime now. Donut Plains 3. And is going for a Yoshi character. It's characterized by having an awesome acceleration, not that much high speed, but also very good handling, which is something you need on this track. MeridianPrime opting for Bowser. Let's see. Makes it across the bridge nicely. Having a few grass hits really costs time. Flanders with the wall hit. MeridianPrime opting to just cut across grass instead of trying to avoid it. Accepting the time loss while avoiding any other issues. Probably let go of the gas there. Ooh, Flanders taking a Phelps. Taking a dive off the bridge. MeridianPrime entering the last lap will probably somewhere in the high 30s. Staying clean, hasn't fallen off yet. Stayed out of trouble with the Gophers, which is also very annoying. 1:31, which is a very nice time. Or DP3. That is a new tournament record for Division 2 by over 9 seconds. Very well done to MeridianPrime. Now, so I'm coming up to the last corner. 2:04. Track Vanilla Leg 1. Track which has opinions divided. Some people like it, some people hate it. Haters are in the majority here. It looks deceptively simple. Just NASCAR style, 4 right turns. And that's it. It's littered with ice blocks, will slow you down. Pipes, which will slow you down. Snow patches, which will slow you down. Flanders again opting for a slightly faster character with Luigi. Making it across the ice blocks. MeridianPrime coming to a dead stop, which will cost him a lot of time. Looks like they're neck and neck now, both entering the 3rd lap. Unless MeridianPrime makes some serious errors, I'm pretty sure he will win this one as well. And there's not driving that bad considering you're driving on ice. It's very tricky. MeridianPrime entering the final lap. Way to a 1:12, I think. 1:13. A 1:18 for Flanders. German record for Division 2 is a 1:379 on this track. But Flanders has a double PR, which is always nice. And on to Vanilla Lake 2. Might as well get it over with. In Vanilla Lake 2 seems like a deceptively simple track, but it's in reality very hard. Seeing some of the top players drive this track is almost magic. Most of us are happily to make it across the ice sheets without falling off. You can see the difference in best times here. Flanders opting to drive with Bowser. This is a brave decision. Missing the zoom start. MeridianPrime getting the zoom start. Flanders hitting all kinds of ice blocks on the way in. MeridianPrime going for the not so very safe. Well, it's safer than some other strats, but it's a risky strat jumping over the ice cracks. Most players opt to cut across the snow on the far right to minimize the risk of falling in the water. Flanders having difficulties in the back straight. A 1:10 for MeridianPrime, which is a very nice time. His best time was 1:15 in the last race, so he's managed to improve himself quite significantly. And yes, you shall not be named was indeed fast round VL2. Off to Donut Plains 2. Again, tight, twisty track. It requires, especially the part around the lake, is twisty, is narrow, and has gophers that you can hit. Both of the players hitting their zoom starts. MeridianPrime navigating twisty part quite nicely. Flanders also staying out of trouble. MeridianPrime narrowly dodging a gopher. Flanders opting to cut across the grass to avoid having steering issues. MeridianPrime now up by half a lap, pretty much. Going into lap 4 now. Very nicely staying clear of the gophers. The biggest risk here, non-NPT players. Taking a boost across the finish line, entering the last lap. And they're staying relatively out of trouble. And MeridianPrime with a 1:34, which is not very bad at all. It's a very good time. DB3, the previous best time was a 1:40. 1:34 isn't bad at all. With a 1:18.11 best lap. That's almost half lapping pace. Upa Beach 2, next track. We'll see if any of these drivers fancy taking a dip in Jarmu's private pool. Most hazardous in this track is the copious amounts of seaweed which will slow you down. And of course the fish which have a tendency to get in the way during the water bit. Ooh, Flanders taking a dip quite early on. MeridianPrime staying out of trouble, trying to keep it on sand. Neither of these players are going for water slides, opting just cut across the water and taking the time loss, avoiding the deeper pools, which will cost you more time if you fall into them. MeridianPrime entering lap 4, almost half a lap up on Flanders, who isn't driving all that bad, to be honest. Oh well, there I said it. MeridianPrime coming up on the final lap with a 1:11. 1:11.77 is half second slower than his tournament record. 1:11.26. Flanders with a 1:25. Again, a double PR, which is not a double PR, but in ieder geval a flat PR. Flanders going for Toad to drive on the Rainbow Road, which is again not a bad choice. Rainbow Road has very little tolerance for errors. You need all the control you can get. MeridianPrime takes Donkey Kong Jr. again. Ooh, Flanders with an early fall. That'll cost her a few seconds. MeridianPrime staying relatively clean, not making large cuts across the corner edges. Entering lap 2. Ooh, Flanders with the drop again. That's one of the disadvantages of switching characters between tracks, is that their handling is very different. So you need to adjust real quickly if you want to get the advantage of using different characters on different tracks. Meanwhile, MeridianPrime trotting along, going into lap 4 now. Flanders hitting a bump. Always not nice, they will stop you dead in your tracks. And MeridianPrime got too greedy. Opts to stay very safe for the last half of a lap. The 142 for MeridianPrime. MeridianPrime with nice consistent laps in the 18.5s. And just coming up to lap 4. Might become a 3-minute race. Carefully trying to stay away from the edge, but yet falling off again. Oh, getting flattened by a thwomp, adding insult to injury. And there's now, I was saying getting the hang of it, but 3:18 for Flanders is something, best time of 2:11. I don't think this is something he's very proud of. Next track, Cooper Beach 1. Again, a track mostly determined by fish RNG. Where the fish are placed on the track will determine. MeridianPrime with the give up. Is this a forfeit? It doesn't look like it. Both players trying to stay away from the deep water, staying away from the fish. Flanders navigating Karel's corner. A white bird. Making sure she doesn't fall in while making a cut across the deep water. A 107 for MeridianPrime, which is a respectable time on KB1. Tournament record is a 1:04.77. And that's another win for MeridianPrime. We're 3/4 in this match, and MeridianPrime is up at 15-0. They'll have some lovely tracks coming up. Going to Donut Plains in 1 now. Is a nice, easy track, indicative of the Mushroom Cup where it's in. The most tricky part is the last corner with the loose sand. It will spin you out quite easily, but you need to navigate that very tightly in order to get a good time. Prime staying quite wide. Flanders getting kicked into the grass. MeridianPrime not taking too much risk. Just turning his circles. I'm going into lap 4. Probably going to end up somewhere in the mid 120s, I think. Or probably a low 120. 121, 122 probably. With the tournament record being a 121.72 and Meridian's best prime a 122.90. A 121.92 for MeridianPrime. Flanders with a 142. Her best time was a 146, so she cut almost 4 seconds of her best time. Next track, Bowser Castle 3. One of the worst tracks in the game. It has Thwomp RNG, which you sometimes cannot avoid. You hit the Thwomp wall. It has bumpers that you need to either jump manually and risk jumping into the lava, or you have to slow down in order to not overshoot the next platform. This will be very interesting to see. Flanders staying with Yoshi for a bit more control, missing the zoom start. MeridianPrime opting to not manually jump the bumpers, so it probably releases gas for the first bumper. In the first lap, the Thwomps are still up, so you can see where they are. But in the next laps, they will randomly drop down. Usually on a moment and a place you don't want to do. MeridianPrime with a few ball hits, slowing down a bit. Ooh, Flanders getting swamped. Very little you can do about it. There's a small window on the left side of the leftmost swamp that you can jump through. But it's very seldom that you hit it. MeridianPrime going for it there, not making it. He also gets stopped in his tracks by the swamps. Going into lap 4 now. MeridianPrime trying to keep it clean. Flanders taking correct line. Hitting a swamp. MeridianPrime going for a very respectable 155, 155.02. Tournament record being a 153, driven by someone whose name I shall not name. Flanders coming in with a 218. Next, Bowser Castle 2, known as the Whale Shark of SNK, being the longest track in the game. Having slightly less terrible swamp RNG, but still needs a lot of skill to navigate. Players hitting their zoom start, which is always nice. Gets you right up to speed. MeridianPrime going right around the swamps, not taking the chance of getting squashed by one. Also not manually jumping the bumpers to minimize over-jumping them, missing them and dumping into lava. Flanders trying her best to stay out of trouble, staying in the middle of the track, avoid the walls as much as possible. MeridianPrime coming up to his last lap now, so he'll probably go for a 150 low somewhere. Flanders trying to get a bit better line, but getting stopped by Swamp. Almost neck and neck, but a lap apart. And 155 for MeridianPrime. AC2. This time was a 2 minute 2 seconds. That's a new tournament record for MeridianPrime. Flanders coming up on the last corner. With a sub 2:30. Nice, respectable time for her skill level. Choco Island 2, our penultimate track, has a big chocolate lake that you need to cut across. Players who boost across that track, across that puddle of chocolate, you will lose a lot less time than the non-NBT players. Again, this is a very twisty first sector. Flanders missing the zoom start. It's too bad. MeridianPrime trying something that resembles a shorter line. Flanders getting hit by the piranha plant that spins her out. Always something you do not want. Ooh, MeridianPrime miscalculating the hairpin, hitting the wall. Luckily, he doesn't have to do a 180 of shame. Flanders going behind the piranha plant, it looks like. This is very nice. Ooh, Flanders hitting the wall. That'll cost her a lot of time. MeridianPrime starting his last lap now. Oh. Probably end up somewhere in the low 120s. $123 while Flanders starts her last lap. The tournament record is a 118 for this track in Division 2. Flanders with 143.97. And our last track is Bowser Castle 1. Again, a track from the Mushroom Cup, making it one of the easier tracks in the game. By far the easiest Bowser Castles. But still, in order to get a very good time, you need pinpoint precision in dodging the thwomps. Ooh, Flanders hitting the wall. MeridianPrime taking a very tight line to turn 3. Again, opting to not manually jump the gaps, just let the bumpers take him over the lava bars. Flanders taking a bit wider line to turn 3, avoiding the thwomps, making sure it doesn't crash into them. MeridianPrime taking a very wide line in the last corner, also to avoid the thwomps. That'll cost him up roughly half a second to a second, but the alternative is getting stopped. MeridianPrime coming up to the last lap now. So we'll probably be aiming for a 140 total time. Flanders hitting a thwomp again. And 130, 140, 30, 39 for MeridianPrime. PC1, which is a new tournament record. That makes this 20-0 to MeridianPrime, which means that MeridianPrime will be the winner of this group. And both Ideas XO and Flanders are tied for second place. So there will be a playoff match between Ideas_XO and Flanders to determine who will go through the next round. The other matches we have this week is tomorrow another match in Division 2 Group B. That will be between me and Goomba NL. Goomba NL, the renowned Mario Kart Double Dash player. Okay, I'm being informed that we don't have time for interviews. So I was saying tomorrow, my match against Goomba NL in Group B of Division 2. Also tomorrow, brightly after that, we have Jarmu versus Yorkshire SMK in a Group A match, which is a higher skill level. And Friday we have Fire Waster versus Yorkshire SMK. Also in Group A, match tomorrow will be at 9 and 10, and Friday at 9. Well, that's it for me this today. Next up is a Mega Man 4 match. I'll be signing off now. Hope you enjoyed this match, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.